Dude.
It is finally going down.
Dude, it has been a wacky night. My apologies. My whole system is just not working. This microphone is not working right now. I got my mic up here is not working. You using the internal, so gosh, and then I forget to hit record.
It's just one of them Tuesdays, bro.
Yeah.
That lets you know we're gonna have a great show today, man. Shout out to everybody who's here right now. Shout out to those who's watching it on the replay. Yeah, of course, you already know. Welcome to Comic Relief. You got your boy Morbius Comics with my awesome co-host KnowGoodComics on this side.
Hell yeah, man. What's going on, everybody? We got 6 people in here right now.
Thank you guys.
Again, yeah. Thanks sorry for the delay. But we'll get this going. Since we're tight on a little time, I'm going to jump right into bringing in our guest because, of course, we got a new guest with us and somebody who's new to my channel, being on my channel. So I'm excited to have our boy PJ Morris. Bring him in. What's going on, Paul?
What's going on, my brother?
What's
happening? How are you, man?
Welcome.
Good. How you guys doing?
Great, man. Thanks for coming on, man, and being a guest.
Yeah,
no worries. Appreciate it.
I like that shirt, man.
Hell yeah, that's an awesome shirt, man.
Yeah, this is a present from my wife.
Nice.
I believe it's Dave Cochran.
The girlfriends.
Nice.
Yes.
I love it.
Awesome.
Before we get started, whether you're watching right now or you're catching the replay, please take a moment, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and then, of course, make sure you're subscribed to Morbius Comics. I have his information in the description below, along with his Instagram account, as well as Paul down here. So make sure that you are following him over on Instagram.
Definitely.
So tonight, I'm going to let you let's kick it off with a cheers here.
Let's do a quick cheers.
Yeah.
Definitely. So salute to everybody.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Guys. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers to everybody in the chat that's joining us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we got a good amount of people hanging out with us.
Awesome.
Even though I was a little late, so
good.
Let's just say a quick hello to the chat, and then we'll jump right into the topic.
Let's do it.
So we got Sheena hanging out here first and foremost.
Hey, Sheena.
Sith Lordly, Spine Ticks. Morbius and I are going to be on the Spine Ticks channel tomorrow night at 7:00 Eastern time, assuming my computer works. But we're going to be over there.
We'll crazy. We're gonna have a great time.
Hell yeah, we're gonna be hanging out, so it'll be a good time. So thanks, Sith, for stopping in. Scheme Richards in the house.
Scheme Richards, thank you.
Just had him on.
You. All right.
As a guest, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle, what's good? Dropping some heat. Seeing those heat lately.
Yeah, I've been seeing that.
Yeah, man, she dropping that heat.
Did I get kicked off? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you're back. You're back, brother.
There's like 20 things going wrong here tonight.
It's all good, man. Welcome to the technology.
I know, man. Seriously.
Big E was good. What's good, E?
What's
up, E?
X-Man is in the house. We got Bricks in the house.
Bricks. What's going on?
My man Martin, who was a guest with us a few weeks ago, also here. My man Albert. What's up, Albert? Thanks for stopping in.
Albert. Thanks for dropping through.
We got Albert twice in here. He watches us twice.
Albert. Salute, my brother. What's going on?
All right, cool. So I think I got everybody at the moment. John saying, who are we pissing off today? So that's a great question. I'm going to let you start with the topic and everything. So why don't you kick it off?
All right, cool. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about the MCU and how it affects comic value, or comic book value. And that's something that, I think is a great topic to talk about because even like when you think about it, like there's some movies that have come out and really has not done much for the comic. You know what I mean? I mean, as far as when you look at stuff that's coming out now compared to stuff that came out, a few years ago, really, you see a big difference on value. Like, let's just take, for example, Doctor Strange. When Doctor Strange first dropped, I mean, even to this day, the book is still pretty much the same where it's at. It hasn't really spiked, all his stuff. I mean, of course, the first appearance is always going to be a major book, but when you look at just overall the Doctor Strange titles and runs, it really hasn't been affected. You know what I mean? As far as, let's say, like looking now with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, those books are just exploded. And then Shang-Chi now.
Crazy.
Shang-Chi is like, you go on eBay and try to pick up, that number one Shang-Chi that 15, it's exploded. I mean, compared to when I picked it up, it was like insane now.
Right.
And the movie, it's just the
book.
trailer came out. So I mean, it's just, to me, I think it's weird because it seems like you had a movie like Doctor Strange that was a good movie. It was, it made a lot of money. It made a big impact. People enjoyed it, but I didn't really see a big impact on the comic, related to the movie, or the characters that were related in the movie. Like you didn't really see that, as you do see it now. I'm starting to see that trend more now. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You let me know. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, well, and let's send it to Paul first. Paul, what are your thoughts on this, generally speaking, as a whole?
I mean, so definitely with Doctor Strange, I see what Morb's saying. It didn't blow up his like books and first appearances and stuff like a lot of these other things. But I feel like, I don't know if it's just like a post-COVID. I guess we're not technically post yet, but on our way. Right. It seems like people were starving for like some MCU content to spec on. I mean, look at they're still looking for Mephisto. You know what I mean? So it's like so now the books are really exploding. Like all these like kind of 1980s Captain America issues are
it's like
crazy money, and it's there used to be dollar bin books, so it's definitely definitely strange times, but.
So let me rewind for a second. Let's take out the pandemic. Let's pretend that we are talking in the let's say it's 2019 right now. The way because right now things are just crazy. Like in general, all things are spiking. I mean, even like omnibuses and other things are like spiking. Things that don't make sense. But like 2 years ago, there was this fluctuation of if a new character or if a character was introduced in a movie. Let's just talk with films first, not before we even get into TV shows or anything else. But when it hit the MCU, the one of the movies, that first appearance would spike. Especially, I mean, like even like small time villains and things like that. I've noticed. But like, what's the name of the elf that is in the Thor movies, the second Thor movie, the dark elf?
I
think his name.
Oh my God! Wow, I feel horrible now.
Too.
Maybe somebody in the chat.
Eric, is it Eric? It starts with an E. Damn it.
So someone like him now, like I'm curious
Malekith,
where
right?
a 9.8
was. Is it?
You talking the dark elf? Was it Malekith or something like that?
Oh, the dark elf. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the troll.
So
that's right. The guy that makes his hammer.
Makes his hammer. I was thinking of him. Yep. Sorry. Yeah.
So like think about like somebody like Malekith, who now that book is like I mean, you can get it again for like $10, $5, things like that.
Exactly.
But think about like when the movie was first coming out, the hype that was with it. I actually don't know. I don't know the numbers per se, and I'm curious if any of you know, or if anybody in the chat knows what the numbers were on that particular book of his first appearance, what it was back then, because I know that as you mentioned, Morbius, like when a trailer, even just a trailer, when a trailer drops, the money spikes, right? Exactly. And then there's like another wave, then it like calms down, and then another trailer hits, and you get this spike again, and then it dies down. Then the movie comes out, and you have like this little window of time where there's like still a big spike, and then depending on how the movie does, if it's not great, or if the character's not great, or if the character gets killed off or is not around, like Malekith, then I noticed that there's like these drops on a lot of these things. Yeah. And I'm always thinking like, or trying to encourage others, like if you really wanted Malekith, then buying Malekith's first appearance, it's not the right time to buy it when the trailer just drops for him to be in a new movie. And with the prediction of, it's gonna be a $10 book 5 years from now. It's gonna be a $10 book 20 years from now, whatever it is. Like if you're okay waiting. Now, of course, that's a risk, right? I mean, who knows? Like if we were wrong and Malekith ended up being a Thanos level villain, then maybe it's going to be even more. But even someone like Thanos, I feel like, again, before this whole craziness in the past year, I feel like Thanos went back down after Endgame, right? It went down at least a little bit, not like massive, but like
but it dropped a lot compared to when it first hit. Like you see a big difference now. Like it was just like insane. When it came
that's
out.
Definitely typically how it was going, where like leading up to the movie and right till it came out, the book was like still escalating, and then once the movie came out, then it kind of started to drop a little bit. That's the time to buy him, so to speak. But some of
Right.
these characters they're bringing back, you know, so they're getting like a second bite at the apple, I guess you could say. So those books, like Deadpool, the New Mutants 98 right now has exploded again. It was like way up in a 9.8 when the movie came out. Then it probably dropped by half, I would say, and then now
And
it's
then,
God knows what it is,
yep,
but it's
exactly. Like
it's
even
tough to
looking at,
keep up.
because I was going through all my Shang-Chi, you know, just to see if I had any keys, and you know, thankfully, you know, I was like, okay, I'm cool. You know, I got some keys in there. I got like, you know, those side, like the ones that they showed in the trailer. You know, the damn, I suck right now, but
Was it
you know, when I went online just to look at, let's see, you know, I was curious to see, you know, like, you know, the not the main characters, but like, you know, the people that they introduced in the trailer that obviously they have some first appearances in the
Some
comic.
side characters, yeah.
Right, some side characters. And when I go and look them up, I mean, it was just ridiculous. I mean, you got guys, I saw one that was like for $500, and I'm like, bro, it's not
crazy.
even, it's a $20 book right now. You know, I
Right.
mean, you literally got guys selling it for $20 to $30, and this one guy was like 500. You know what I mean? And then that's just gonna start the chain reaction. You know what I mean? Of people thinking, oh, okay, I could get rid of it for 500, so let me put
Right.
mine for 6. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
it starts from there. But I was going on there today, and I'm like, you know, I'm just curious. Let me see what people are selling these books for, and it's astronomical right now. I mean, it's ridiculous. You look, even the Shang-Chi as graded as a, let's say a 6.0 right now. When you go to Go Collect 6.0, you're looking at a graded 6.0. You're looking at, I believe it's about a little over $400, a 6.0. Right now, they're selling them for like 900 to 1,000, a 6.0.
Yeah.
You
Madness.
know, so it's insane. So and this is just based off a trailer. You
Right.
know, we don't even know how good this movie is yet. You know, if it's really gonna hit, take off, you know, become some new Iron Man. You know what I mean? Who knows?
So,
But
so let me ask you this, more or both of you. Do you feel that, regardless of the, you know, this is happening, it is what it is, but do you personally feel that a book should go up in price just because a character shows up in a film?
okay, me personally, no.
Yeah, that's
No,
definitely no.
I don't understand it. Why? Because a character is used in a movie. I mean, if you look at everything else, you know, that's what movies are based off of. Is it's something that they took off of somewhere, whether it's a story. You know, it's like, let's say Lord of the Rings. You know, they made it into a movie. Did fucking the book Lord of the Rings explode? Did you have to, you know, spend $3,000 on a volume 1 first edition Lord of the Rings? No,
Right.
it was the same cover fucking price it was when the movie came out and afterwards, you know. So
Right.
you look at that and you're like, you know, that makes sense to me. But I feel right now there's just an opportunity right now for a lot of people that, you know, that they just start this momentum. You know, it's already been established, so we're not gonna break that. You know, you're not stopping that wave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Once that little wave starts and everyone starts jumping on that wave, it's just nonstop. It becomes a tsunami.
Comes a tsunami. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's just takes over everything. You know,
It
but
is.
I agree that the movies should not have no effect on a comic book whatsoever. You know what I mean? I feel that should be based on scarcity and, you know, everything else that goes with that, you know, with raising a value of a book. But as far as it being because, oh, somebody's using this character, now we got to go chase this character down in a comic book. And because of that, it's valuable. And it's like, and then you look at all these like side, no important books that they're not even keys, really. You know, you got books that aren't even keys that are exploding just because, oh, that's part of the movie. Or they think it's part of the movie and then it explodes, you know? What do you think,
I mean,
PJ?
so that's basically right on, right? So like, just because a movie or something with the MCU is coming out related to one of these characters, the books shouldn't like automatically blow up overnight. Like, it doesn't make sense. I find it hard to believe there's any old school, old time collectors who would get like caught in that. Sometimes a little bit, but like,
A little
if
bit,
you look, I bet you if you look at like Special Marvel Edition 15, how many sold yesterday on eBay, or I've seen some other books posted. I don't have much of a master of Kung Fu books, but I saw there was one. I think it's the villain that they showed in the trailer. I
with
mean,
the mask on.
I'll
That's
yeah, I'll bet
that
you
was
like
his
50
Oh,
copies
man.
of that were sold yesterday on eBay at like crazy prices. Because,
Right.
but the thing is, like, so like you were saying though, like certain books, like Fantastic Four 1 or X-Men 1, I think it's silly when I hear like MCU spec in relation to that book blowing up. It's like
Right.
it's FF1, like it's already a mega book.
It's already a
What,
fucking
it's
right.
50, 60 years old. What could a movie do to like enhance the value of that book? It just
Right.
doesn't make like, so that's not collectors. Maybe that's bringing in money from like outside people who, once they see that it's like a multimedia property type of thing, they'll invest a lot of money in it. But like, that's why collectors to some degree are getting priced out of some of these books. They're just they're just
I think
blown up.
what you just said there, PJ, I think is spot on. And let me start by saying too that I agree with both of you that I personally feel like it shouldn't affect anything, but obviously, like I said, it does, and we live in the world that we live in right now.
Right.
But I want to highlight what John here said, and this is something I was thinking about recently before we went on. He says the answer is definitely yes, that it should affect prices. Prices should go up because the awareness explodes. Moviegoers are a different audience, and they will increase awareness and interest, so it should go up. He follows it with the increased awareness has an effect on scarcity and rarity. That's why it happens. So, and
I mean, I know the movies do big time numbers and they have a lot of millions of people see the movies, but like, I don't think it's increased readership. Like, they're not
I don't think
new.
so either. I don't.
They're not like my wife loves the MCU, all the movies and TV shows. I can't get her to read a comic. I mean,
I don't think he's saying that it increases readership, but for collectability purposes,
so
and kind of PJ, what you were starting to say, like people who, people who have money, who might just be looking to invest in things, whether it's stocks or whatever, and they happen to see these films starting to blow up, and they pay attention to the stock markets and how Marvel's doing, how Disney's doing, and all these other things, and then they start looking into like, well, what are these movies are based on characters? Like, I'm really curious, how much are these these books going for? And then they might look at trends, right? And the trends might be, well, at this year this movie was here, or this book was here, but when the movie came out, it was here, and now there's projection of another movie coming out, so in theory the book should then go up to here. So mathematically they may not be a fan at all, you know what I mean, but just like an investor doing math, and they're just like, well, yeah, and I have money, so I'm just gonna dump money into this, and and just go with it that way. Kind of what John's saying, where I just discovered.
I could see that on some mega books, right? Like FF1 or X1 or Avengers, but like Master Kung Fu 115, like is the guy's name Death Master?
Death something. Is Death? Oh, dude with the hand, with the sword on the hand.
I know Razor Fist. Yeah, I remember him from Marvel Comics Presents in the late 80s.
You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Like, that's the one I saw that was going for 500. It's like, come on. Now, my thing is this: you got the Transformer movie, you got G.I. Joe. It didn't do nothing for the books. You know what I mean? And these are the same people who pretty much almost the same audience that grew up with Transformers. That's why they went to go see Transformers. But it didn't. I don't see how that portrays or makes people want to go. Yeah, probably like a very small percentile compared to the people who go watch the movie. When a lot of the people who go watch the movie is parents taking their kids. You know what I mean? Who really don't have an interest in the movie when you look at the percentage rate of who goes and sees this movie. So it's a very small percentage when you look at it as a whole. When you're looking at, the billions of dollars or the millions of people who go watch this movie, it's not millions of comic book heads. You know what I mean? That's a small percentage compared to the masses who don't really care, who are just like part-timers or not really invested in it. They just think the movie is cool. You know what I mean?
Like, the MCU is like a different thing now. It's just not, because I like it. I mean, I'll admit to some degree, MCU kind of got me back heavy in the comics a little bit, because
to me,
as a longtime reader, well, comics, I don't want to complain about newer comics of the last 10, 20 years, whatever, but like continuity's gone. The storylines are kind of all over the place. So it's like, it kind of disinterested me as like an old school kind of person, I guess. Whereas the movies are like a new start of like the continuity. All the movies fit together. All the characters build off each other. So it's like cool. It's almost like being in 1962 again and watching like the Marvel universe explode and kind of form. And it's just different. So but some of the books that explode because of it, I definitely don't think it makes sense.
And when you look at scarcity, I mean, a lot of these books there's plenty of them out there. It definitely doesn't increase readership. It only increases the number of people who are aware of the comic and interested in buying a piece of the nostalgia. Right. But to me, The people who raise the value of the books are us. This community is who raises that, who does that. It's not the average person who goes watches this movie. You know what I mean? Because once again, when you look at the statistics, these are people who are taking their children to go watch these movies and have no real interest in the characters or in the movie, as far as just an entertaining thing where, oh, that's cool. It was very entertaining. I remember Captain America as a kid, or I remember Hulk watching the TV show, and that was cool. But it doesn't, I don't feel that that's something that really drives, you know, people to go out there and buy these books. You know, what drives the people to buy is us, the comic book heads.
But I feel like it only takes one person, one rich person, to go and say, well, you know, the sidekick to, or again, we'll use the Malekith example. Back when Malekith was coming out, if this individual, one individual, does research and says, oh, Malekith is about to be this villain, let me go drop my millions of dollars and literally buy up everyone I can. So as the market, as we, the community, start seeing Malekith be bought again and again, and slowly these, you know, I'm just saying, like, if one, even if all it could take is one person going and trying to bid up all these things and just buy them all, that's going to make all of us react and freak out, and people, you know, fear of missing out. So out of the thousands, because we're talking thousands of people that watch these movies, there's got to be a handful, 5 people that are these types of people I'm describing that make
pretty sure
that buy into this, though, that buy into these secondary characters, these, you know what I mean, like not necessarily the main characters, to give it a shot.
People I feel that really buy into it is comic collectors, is comic readers are the ones who really drive up these prices.
Oh, definitely.
You know, it's not necessarily, you know, the person who goes to the movie. I mean, yeah, they go to the movie, but when you really look at it, it's these people like us, man, who's really going in there and who understand the way this works and the books, and are like, hey, let me, because I work with people who, you know, who like the movies, but they don't buy comic books. You know, they're shocked when I tell them, like, oh yeah, well, I got that, or oh, you have the comic book, like, you really, oh wow, like, you know, they're shocked by it, because going to the movie that's as far as they go, like, that's enough for them. You know, and it's enough for them to get satisfied and as far as how much they invest in the movie. But I truly think that it's not the average person, is not, you know, it's us, man. It's all the comic book heads that go to these movies and are like, man, I gotta get that book. You know what I mean? And I gotta get this and I gotta get that. And that's how I think. You know, that to be honest, after today, I'm gonna do a little more investigation as far as the ratio of people who go to these movies, as far as parents, you know, teenagers, you know, older people, adults, and whatever. Because I know that when I did look into it, a lot of it was parents. Big majority of it is parents.
Big time.
You know what I mean? And a lot of these parents, you know, of course, I'm a parent, you're a parent. You know what I mean? And Paul. And and
I was like, I'm not right.
No, I know. We had that conversation.
Yeah.
And you know, so I feel like we're a very small percentage of that majority of people who actually go to the theater, because a lot of these people are, how they call them, they're not really invested. You know what I mean? It's just a cool movie, and to go beyond that, now you really, you know, now you're talking our game. You know what I mean? You're talking our language as far as collectors and readers, you know, to go that far. So as far as it being like, yes, don't get me wrong, it does. People go out there and buy the book when you see a movie and you're like, damn, I don't have that. Let me go look it up. But again, it falls back to us, people who are already established collectors, people who are already involved in this game. And they want to just add that to their PC, because a lot of it is FOMO too. You know, you get that FOMO and you're like, man, I want that. You know what I mean?
It's easy to get caught up, you know, when you see like Captain America 323, the first John Walker. I mean, it was always like maybe like a $10-15 book, not anything crazy. And then now it's like $100 because of this TV show. So it's cool when you have the book. You're like, wow, this is awesome, man.
That's awesome.
The book I had in my like this regular cat box. I know. Now you're chasing.
That's when the FOMO kicks in and you're like, fuck, I gotta have this in my PC, because I see Paul posting fucking 3 copies of it. I see Justin, he got like 10 copies of it. You know what I mean? And they ain't selling it. So I gotta get my copy.
Man. Oh, speaking of that, by the way, I had to buy a She-Hulk 1 this week because I saw you flexing with a couple of copies. So I had to at least get one.
There you go.
Collector says, I agree with No Good. It only takes a few rich people out of a million to watch. So that's what I was going to say more about. I hear you on on the families and how a majority and the word, I mean, majority, I'm talking, if we're talking a million, I'm saying like just shy of that. Yes, all of them are parents and kids and people who aren't spending the money in the way that we are. But I believe that there are those literally 2, 3, 5 individuals who have money, who weren't fans, who are just like starting to discover it because of the films, who didn't know who Iron Man was until Iron Man hit the big screen. And then all of a sudden, this
Neither
investor,
did we.
but no, but like, I mean, I know a lot of people who just never knew who Iron Man was up until you ask them like, Batman, Captain America.
We didn't give a fuck about Iron Man.
But right, so you mentioned Iron Man. That's what I'm saying. Though, it introduced a lot of people to Iron Man. So I do feel that there is those people out there who would encourage, who are not part of our comic book community, who are now buying these books because they think they're onto something based on math, based on the research that they've been doing and things like that. Even though there were millions of people who were just families and just kids and just parents going to see their whatevers, all it takes is the 2 or 3, millionaires, billionaires.
Justin, you really think 2 or 3 millionaires is going to cause this much of a spike in a value in books? Like, I don't think so. I don't think
all it takes is one. But that's what I mean. All it takes is one. If I'm a millionaire and I see that this book that's going for $100 right now is about the character in that book is going to be in the next film of whatever film, I could buy hundreds of those $100 books.
Of course.
Knowing that, okay, mathematically, if I look at how these other ones did, they all doubled a year before, or 6 months right before the movie came out. So let me go scoop all these up, and as I start scooping them up for 100, then other people, including the community, including other people we know, they start to see, wow, somebody's going on eBay and literally buying all these up. Maybe I should grab one. Oh crap, that one's going for 110. I'll pay 112 just because someone's buying them up. Oh, that one's going for 120. I'll buy it for 130 just because it keeps going up. So like all it takes is someone to kind of clean them up. And at this point, not even a millionaire per se, but just somebody who's buying
I don't see that's where I won't say a millionaire, because I mean, not to throw names out, but I've seen people recently posting like 20 copies of Thundercats #1. You've probably seen the post. You probably know who I'm talking about, but I'm not saying names. But post it, and that person is not a millionaire, but he got like 20 copies. And then just today I saw somebody post, no lie, bro, it had to have been at least 40 copies of Moon Knight Volume 2 #1.
But I think a lot of these people got them as a deal. I think a lot of them got it before they blew up. But the millionaires are buying them who they don't care. They just quadrupled and they're like, I'll still buy it. I'll still buy it. I'll still buy it. And then that makes the quadruple price then double from there. Like it just makes it even more obnoxious.
I need to know who these people are, man, because
that's just that's
I mean,
we're talking about 1, 2 people.
The big keys, the big keys are all. I mean, you get a VG X-Men 1 is 20 grand now. I mean, it's like you can't keep up anymore. The old school, the mega keys, the grails, those books are, in my opinion, normal collectors. They're like priced out. We can't, I can't buy them. I mean, maybe you guys can. I don't know. I'll speak for myself, I guess. But I can never buy some of these books. I have. I mean, thankfully, I've had them a long time, or I traded for them. I can never buy them. Like, they're too much money. And that's when they were at like older prices. The prices now, I don't know how you acquire these books unless you're a millionaire or you're getting paid, because the prices are astronomical. So and that's purely because of MCU spec, I guess, right? I mean, why is X-Men 1 like quadruple the price of what it was a couple of years ago?
We can't just say it's because of that. Like, I'm not gonna say it's just millionaires. Like, we can't.
No, it's not just that, but that ties into it.
But they add to it. Of course, I'm
gonna say money people.
But
they're not real collectors. They're money
is
people.
Also the community. You know what I mean? You gotta understand, this is a big community and it's worldwide. So a lot of these people, a lot of dudes are buying books up too. Just like these millionaires, they're specking and picking up 4, 5, 6 books before it gets hot.
But the thing is, the community's been around for a long time. Exactly. So why were these spikes not happening before?
Because it's like what we were saying. If we notice it, this spike really started trending right after the pandemic. Is when we started seeing explosions on these books. You know what I mean?
It was before that. It was before. I was saying before the pandemic.
Not that crazy. Not that crazy. Because now, if you let's look at Ant-Man the movie. that book did not really go nowhere. That the Ant-Man and Wasp did not go nowhere. And I had Wasp and Ant-Man before the movies. You know what I mean? So I was thinking, all right, cool. My books are gonna, it's gonna catch some steam based on what happened with Iron Man. Right. You know what I mean? That Iron Man started picking up. Now, if you look at Iron Man, where he had his gauntlet, the Iron Man when he created the gauntlet, I had that book, and and for like 6 months, that book was selling for like $80. And right now you could pick it up for like $10.
Yeah, so no,
it spiked and then came back down.
Totally.
And it kind of trickled down, because then you had Ant-Man and Doctor Strange, and you really didn't see nothing going on with that. You know, even the Black Widow, you know what I mean? You're not really seeing no explosion with Black Widow as well either. It's just almost like these selective movies.
Some of those Black Widow books started, but then the movie got delayed and COVID.
And then boom.
Like the Avengers 43, the first Red Guardian. But that book, like a year and a half ago, was blowing up. It's kind of stagnated now. Now it's affordable again.
It dropped, And so I don't know. It's just weird, man. It's like certain movies like just take off on a book, and then certain movies don't make a book, move.
Yeah, but look at a lot of these books that are blowing up now. The movies ain't even out. It's all like
or even based on a TV show.
It's crazy.
You're looking at TV shows.
I told my buddy that one of my buddies, a dealer. I told him what he needs to do, because he feels like he's chasing sometimes. Like he'll have books and he'll go dig them out of his garage, but he's like too late. So I told him, I said, you need to be watching Entertainment Tonight, read up on IMDb every day, keep up on Hollywood. I mean, because in all honesty, you got to be like ahead of the curve. Like he just sent in like a month ago a bunch of Cap 323s to be graded. And I'm like, by the time you get them back, the show's over, the book's going to be, I mean, it might, if he gets some like 9.6 or 9.8, I mean, he'll still make a little money. But I'm like, you're too late. You should have had the books now. Like you should have been getting those graded like 6 months ago. But, he's kind of like chasing the spec. That's why it's tough to do that, man. I just,
it's a risk.
It is. It's
a risk, man. And that's part of the game. That's part of the hustle. That's part of the, of how this is all played out. You know what I mean? You gotta either you stay ahead of the game, or you get caught in the back, and you miss out on stuff. And to be honest, it's okay. It's okay to miss out on things. Like it's okay
totally.
Not to have the book. It's
you can't own everything.
You exactly. This is not Pokemon. You're not going to get them all. You're not going to catch them all. You know what I mean? It's okay, guys. We're not Ace. We're not going to fucking get them all, and that's why I always tell these, when I have people hitting me up and they're like, oh man, I know you got that book. And I'm like, actually, no, I don't. I don't have it, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with letting you know I don't have that book, and there's nothing wrong with not having that book. It's just when you get caught up in that FOMO hype, that you're gonna pull out $400 or $500 on a book that is nowhere near worth that, and that a year from now you're gonna fucking regret it. When that book drops again in value, and you're sitting there like, why did I spend this money on this shit?
That's like a social media thing too, though, a little bit, because like back in the day, if you didn't have certain books, you didn't think anything of it. But when you look on IG and everybody is scrolling by got a certain book, you're like, damn, I want that book. Let me check eBay. Oh shit, it's going for $50 right now. What's $50? I'll buy it. And that's how you get caught up in it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But it's definitely a slippery slope, man, with this MCU and what's going on. Even when we saw WandaVision, it was just like out of control. White Vision. I mean, bro, like me and PJ was talking about this, a while back, and White Vision, bro, that was in a $2 bin, fucking 10 years ago. It was nothing, that book. As a matter of fact, my main LCS, he was like, when I went and spoke to him, I was like, man, do you have any West Coast Avengers? He was like, bro, I ain't never had no West Coast Avengers. Like, it was rare if you found more than 5 West Coast Avengers books, in the stash, because that's just a shitty run. Nobody gave a fuck about West Coast Avengers. And then now people are chasing down West Coast Avengers, and once WandaVision came out, and then we already saw that the book dropped in value, dropped in value. So people were paying $150, and now you could get that shit for way less than $100. Yep. You know what I mean? So it's all part of this. Like, that's why I say, like, a lot of this shit, it's not you cannot really say like, oh, this and this and this hypes things up because of people buying the book. No, a lot of it is fucking hype. A lot of it is just bullshit fucking hype that people put behind something, and then everyone else, like, again, we're tribal, so we want to feel like we're a part of something. You know what I mean? So we're just gonna go along with it and be like, yes, that's right. The book, yes, it's worth that because he's saying it's worth that. He's saying everyone else is saying it. You know, you got a key app that's saying it, you know, so yes, let's follow that. You know, and then how many times having that app has retracted things and say, oh no, that's, you know, my bad.
And the sellers know it too, because every sales post you see is like MCU movie coming
key
out,
issue,
first appearance, you know.
Yeah.
So
you know?
it's they know and we eat it up, I guess.
Eat that shit right up.
Yeah, my advice for this whole thing is to you know, if news is already out about a book that's about a film that's coming out, a character that's going to be in the film, and you don't own it, it's probably too late. Unless you find it in the dollar bin, unless you find it somewhere where a seller doesn't know yet, and there's probably a very small window of time where you're able to actually find that opportunity. Not to say they're not out there; they're out there. That's you know the fun with hunting. But usually you're you know you missed the boat. But it doesn't mean you missed it for life.
Permanently. For permanently.
It can come back, and that's where we have to be patient for what we want and have the confidence or the trust that all right, this book will come back down at some point. And as you guys are talking about, a lot of these books have proven that a majority of these books, yes, no, not the key books, but a lot of the smaller level, you know, this White Vision and all this other stuff, those all will come down, and as you said, already have come down. So books that are in the future that are just coming up, like we're just talking about this Shang-Chi movie that's coming out. I just feel like for me personally, I've never really read any of those. I never got into any of those. I don't feel bad or upset that I didn't have any of those. Even when those books come down, because I do believe they will come down, I'm not going to buy them. So it's just part of, you know, where I stand with it. If you're somebody who is, you know, you find them in the dollar bin and you want to pick them up so you can resell them and for the appropriate price, then go for it. But me personally, I'm you know, I stick to what I want to read, what I like, characters that I liked, and you know, so that's kind of where I keep myself. But for anybody, you know, watching this, I do think patience is a big thing, and not freaking out when you do miss out on something big. You know, because it most certainly is going to come back at some point, or you'll get an opportunity somewhere, even if it's not that they just go down in price.
I mean, I found books just looking for other books. I run into books that I was looking for years ago, and I wasn't even looking for that book, you know, and you just run into it in a box and you're like, holy shit. Like, oh wow, like, and it's in great condition. Like, what the fuck? Like the comic gods shined on me, you know what I mean, that day. And it happens. Just like you said, just gotta be patient. Don't give up. And that's what makes the hunt so much fun. You know, when you get out there and you're just spending so much time hunting these books down, that you might just get lucky and find that book you've been chasing for years and couldn't get your hands on it. You know, so that's just, you know, definitely something to look forward to.
I wanted to add, Dave here, Kachung said, I stopped buying new books about 16 months ago. FOMO disappeared almost completely. So it's interesting because I feel that FOMO can be attached to any era of book. Not just new books.
Even back.
If anything, I feel like it's the old books more because of the films. So when these films are based on characters that came out in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, as their first appearance, that's where the FOMO hits a lot of us. Is when we miss out on some of these secondary, you know, characters or non, you know, side characters and things like that. You know, more so than these new books. I don't really get the FOMO on the new books. I mean, I mean, if you're talking about reading, if you missed out on the story, I mean, personally, you guys know, I buy them on Comixology, so I don't miss out. I don't miss out on any of the stories. If I feel like I need to own it, then I will. Usually, even a new book, if it spikes, or, you know, quote unquote spikes, it usually only like doubles or triples cover price. So it's not like breaking the bank or anything. It's not like Thanos, you know, first appearance of Thanos or something like that.
I mean, you get those rare moments like, you know, Ice Cream Man #1, you know, Something's Killing Children, right. You know, those are like those rare moments where those books really explode. you know,
Yeah.
and then you're grateful that, hey, I picked it up when it first wasn't, you know, and just going back to almost for just going back to you know, picking
Exactly.
up new books. I mean, me, like I was talking to Paul when we were on our we were going live with the Slab Smash. I was just talking about how I cut back on new books, but it wasn't because of the FOMO, because that's something that I made sure I was very disciplined on. You know, that I'm not gonna pick up a book because I see Justin post it, or I see, you know, Michelle post a book, or whoever, you know what I mean? Or Nige posts a new book that they picked up, and I'm like, fuck, I want that book. No, I come back because I'm trying to work on more getting my back issues, you know, finishing off my runs, you know, for my back issues. So I really want to focus on that. But as far as like, you know, going back to, you know, new books and let's say MCU, like we have new books that come out and instantly they say, hey, they picked up this book for a show. Boom, the book
Yeah.
explodes. You
It's
know,
true.
like what is it? Was it that
Shadecraft.
came out? Shadecraft, right?
Yeah.
That's the new one that came out.
There's some
and they
hype on
already-
that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I actually picked up that book just based on the topic of the concept of the story.
Yeah.
You know, I had no clue after I picked it up that I saw, oh, okay, this is gonna be a TV show.
Oh,
Cool.
same here. Same.
You know, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
It just
You know,
looked cool.
Right,
Yeah.
it looked cool. I saw the cover, I read it, I was like, oh, this is an interesting story. I would like to read it, you know, and I want to pick it up. And then it happened to be, oh, they're picking it up for something, you know, for a show.
Right.
Cool. You know what I mean? It's like that's like the added bonus to it, you know.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that has to do with when people chase stuff. It's a lot of that, you know, when they see like, oh, it's been picked up, it's like, oh my God, you know, I gotta go pick this book up. But we've seen that already, where a lot of comic books have been picked up, you know, to do a show, and they're still sitting at, you know.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff gets optioned, but you never.
Right.
It doesn't ever seem to come to fruition. Like I never see the
Tuition,
shows.
right?
You know?
Exactly.
That's another thing too. Just because
You
it
know,
got option doesn't mean
right. It doesn't happen.
Right.
You know.
Right. It's not guaranteed.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
we're still. I'm shit. They say that with Ice Cream Man.
Yeah.
You know that it was
that's still-
option, and
that's
it's
still
still
in the air.
sitting on the table. You know, and nothing is happening with that.
That ice
So-
cream
Right.
is melting by now.
Exactly.
I like that Planet Clintar says F hype spec. If I'm collecting it and it blows up,
Exactly.
sweet. You're going to lose
Exactly.
more times than not chasing
Hotness.
quote unquote the hotness.
Yeah,
which-
Sure.
exactly.
yeah.
Facts,
It
bro.
is too hard to just try to buy everything and
Well, it's
and,
like you
and
said before,
most time
Justin.
you can-
If it's already out or coming, you're too late. Like if you're already
Yeah.
reading about it, forget it. You know, it's
right, if
just,
it's on a top
like you
10
said, if it's
list,
something new and you want to read it, you can read it
Right.
digitally. But as far
Yeah.
as trying to acquire like a physical copy, I mean, you're going to spend a lot of money.
Dave here says best to speculate on the longevity of the movie character than the character in a book.
True. Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Like if it's
I
a
agree with
one-off
that.
character that's just going to be in one, you know, like a one movie type deal or one show, or they get killed off type thing, you know, then there's really
Right.
no future in that. Whereas if it's like a,
Right.
you know, a big time, well, Thanos, he was in
Yeah.
many movies though, so and he could come back still at some point because he's such a
Oh yeah. They could
heavyweight
resurrect
Marvel
him.
villain.
Oh, yeah.
They could bring him
Come-
back. I was
Oh, yeah,
actually
they could bring him back. Oh, for sure.
reading
for sure.
something. I was listening to something about, you know, he could show up in Eternals maybe or something. So I mean, there's.
Oh yeah. He
But as
ties
far as
into
like
that,
a Malekith or some of these other guys, they're kind of like one-hit wonders. Like they're not really gonna develop a whole like, you know, mythology around this character. So he's kind of, if you capitalize, so like Justin was saying, if you went out before the movie and you bought 10 copies of that book when it was $10, and then I remember seeing it was like probably $50 or more when the movie was coming out. You know, then you sold at that point. Like if you're into that kind of flipping, you know, if you stay ahead of the game, then so be it. But if you're the guy trying to buy it when it's 50, you're probably going to lose in the long run.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, look what Kachun said, right? Go ahead.
I was gonna say Dave talking about Elektra.
Yeah,
Everybody
exactly.
was freaking out when she became
Exactly.
Daredevil.
like-
Meanwhile, her first appearance, and that same thing with White Vision, where it's like people were freaking out for White Vision,
Right.
and it's like, well, just go buy Vision. The first
Get the
They
first
could have bought
appearance of
Avengers
Vision.
White
57,
Vision,
I know.
somebody bought. Yeah, did you
Crazy.
see somebody spent more money on White Vision
On White
in a
Vision.
9.8 than they
Regular,
did
I know.
on original.
Fucking
And it's like,
blows my
Insanity.
mind.
I
Fuck.
don't get it, man. I
Blows
don't
my
get it.
fucking mind, bro.
At that point, it's like, you know, obviously it's not the three of us. We're not pulling that kind of move, but like
Hell
there's
no.
someone out there who either, I don't know, they're that passionate about White Vision or they just Yeah, but if you
Just
think
in
if
it
they
for
were
the
that
money,
passionate,
man.
they
He
would have
just
had it
into
before.
albinoism. He's like,
They would have owned it.
albinoism.
Right. So yeah, it's crazy. So
Listen, man, I
it's
got
just
on a whole other tangent if we talk about that. That's like a whole separate,
yeah.
like
That's a whole separate.
that whole slab, that aspect of it is insanity to me anyway. But it's like
Right.
if a book that's raw is $100, but I'll buy a 9.8 of it for a G, and it's like, I'm
Yeah.
like a more modern book, I guess I'm saying. And I just like I don't understand that. Like I don't know who would do that. Like a collector who just wanted a copy. Like I'm old enough to be like, I just wanted the books. It was back in the day they were just hard to even find the books. Before eBay and all that blew up. But so to me, I'm still like I like to just get a copy of the book. It's like, oh, cool, I found this book. Whereas now it's like, no, that's not good enough, and you can't have a Wolverine 1 or something 9.4 or whatever. If you get a 9.8. Now it's like this crazy price, and I'm just like, why don't you just buy the 9.4? Then it's basically like a 9.6 and a 9.8. Like my eyes ain't that good, maybe, but it's like I don't think you could even tell the difference, to be honest. If you flip flop the books and the grades, it's possible you'd have the same book and the different. But literally a 9.8, at least at one point, the 9.8, like New Mutants 98, a 9.8 was twice what a 9.6 was. It might still be that way, and it's like, who would pay that? Like I don't know. That's just me, but. Anyway, that's a different tangent.
You're right, man. Exactly right. Even what Michelle just said right now. I feel like we hear that something has been optioned every other day lately.
Absolutely.
It's so
it's usually
true.
indie stuff, though. I feel like a lot of
It's
the indie
so
stuff, like
fucking
lately,
true.
it's been indie, yeah.
But
like
copy.
Malara and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous. It's almost like they do this
Rookies.
to like get their books.
That is
sold.
rookie
It's like
behavior,
if they're
man. I
like,
agree
hey,
with
by the way, it was optioned, so make sure y'all get 10 copies of this shit. And it's almost like a promotional scheme. Like
Right.
it's starting to become like part of the promotional, training to get rid of books now. It's like, oh yeah, it's been optioned. Pick them up.
Yeah.
I like that. Clintar was saying rookies, and I know he's making a joke.
Right.
But it is interesting to think that there are those out there who genuinely just do not know, or are just don't have that. They didn't learn that any of the things that we're talking about here. Whether you're buying a first appearance versus buying White Vision, or you're buying a book right as the hype is at its peak,
right?
And they just think, or even we're talking about the 9.8s, like that's kind of the new standard for new collectors.
Yeah.
But that's not all, not for all collectors. But a new collector might come in and join all of us on Instagram and see a bunch of us posting 9.8s on certain things, and that triggers to them. They don't know any better. They're just that's the standard. Yeah, like let me go buy these 9.8s now. Yeah, if I don't have a 9, if I have a 9.6, oh man, I'm a loser. Like So it is on us as a community too to be vocal about this. And we do, and the three of us I know do. And I know many others who are vocal about this too. But to say that kind of PJ, what you were saying, there's like you just want to have the book. You're happy with just the book. I mean, I got the X-Men 1 in a 2.5. I'm just happy I have the thing.
Exactly.
I would never
0.0 and I'll fucking
right. I would never I would never say that it's not good enough.
I know, but doesn't blow your mind that book is like 15 grand now, roughly. It's like, do you ever think like, wow, this book? Like when I got my X-Men 1, it was raw. And then I made a deal. I traded. Most of my big books like that were all like acquired in trades and stuff. I don't have money like that. So I ended up turning that book, which was a 3.0, into the 4.0 I have now. To get that book would say like $5,000 worth of like trade and deals and whatever, which is still a lot of money. But I fortunately had a lot of like I admit I had to trade like Spidey 300. I had a real high grade Iron Man 55, which at that time was when the movie was out, so it was kind of like I got good trade value for that. So it was all books like that. But anyway, now I don't even know. I don't even want to look. Especially I don't want my wife to look. See what the 4.0 X-Men 1 is going for right now. You know what I mean? It's serious money now. So
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Sell that shit right
blowing
now.
Up.
We're going on vacation.
Exactly.
We're going on vacation, motherfucker. Sell that shit.
No doubt about that.
Trust me, I know,
no
man.
Doubt.
It's not a year that goes by where my wife is like, it was so funny. It was like a couple months ago we're driving, and she goes, so I mean, you're buying books, but like you're buying to sell them, right? Like she threw in the right, and I'm driving, and I'm like, no. And I just raised the volume, and I was like, "Oh, this is a dope ass song. I love this."
Yeah.
I was like, no. And she just was like, I could see the veins pulsating, you know, in her forehead.
Just
Yeah,
remind
I
her,
would claim she didn't know I collect
daughter, your
comics,
kids,
but
they're gonna be set.
Exactly. Oh yeah, she trust me. She reminds
She
me
knows.
all the time.
She knows.
She keeps telling me we got to do that will.
yeah, I know, right?
I was like, damn, girl, what are you doing? Poisoning me or something? Like, you got some plans, you know? Because she loves watching those murder mysteries. So I'm like, what is that? Practice? Training?
Gotta watch out. Gotta watch out, Morbius.
Hell yeah.
Watch out for that Visine.
Yeah. We're just coming up on the hour mark here.
Okay. Yeah. We're I figured that because we're like 10 minutes in today. But yeah, man. So real quick, back to the MCU, you know, definitely you have your, you know, your pros, you have your cons with it, you know, and you have your ups, you have your specs, you got your all this stuff that goes on. And then you have your millionaires, and then you have your non-millionaires who cause these effects, you know, raising value, and then of course it drops again in value when the movie is no longer, you know, cared about, you know, or it already got past the masses and they have no longer interest in it. So I mean, it's up and down thing, of which I feel that when it comes to that game, it's like we were saying, man, you either you stay ahead of the game or you get, you know, lost in the train, you know what I mean? And that's something that I feel like, just to put it out there, you know, if you're not gonna do your homework and due diligence, you know, when things are coming out, or when you hear things are coming out and you're not picking up these books, let it go. Don't wait to get them now. You know what I mean? Like I said, I saw the Shang-Chi 500 for one of these like non-existent characters, you know what I mean, that no one gave a fuck about, you know, and so it's not worth it, you know. But I do definitely, I don't agree, like we did say, I personally don't agree, you know, that it should affect it, but apparently in some way, in some fashion, it does affect it. And if you're going to be in this game, make sure that you do your homework, do your due diligence, and be disciplined when you're picking up these books, or when you, if you decide to pick up these books when it's a little too late, you know. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
Yep. No, I totally spot on. Totally spot on. Just at the end of the day, research and patience. I think
Definitely,
all that
guys,
can go a long way.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Don't fall for the FOMO.
Don't
and
fall
ultimately
for it,
just try to collect and get what you love. Like, buy the books that you really want. You know, don't
exactly.
If you never
You know,
read
like,
or cared about Shang-Chi, you shouldn't now just because the movie comes
like
out. At
me
least
personally,
to me, I mean,
yes. I'm not gonna say I don't, because you guys have posted it in the past. I have the run, you know what I mean? I collected Shang-Chi. I read Shang-Chi as a kid, you know, so I have the run of Shang-Chi, you know what I mean? And just last year I was filling my running, you know, from 1 through 100. So I missed out on the 115 because I didn't pick up, you know, that character. But it's something that I do read and I do collect. So to me, it's like, hey, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna buy it now. You know what I mean? Unless I see it for a great deal, and I'm gonna be like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna snatch that up." You know.
Yeah, now's a bad time to be buying.
But now it's not the time to buy these books, so I'm gonna wait, you know, to go past 100, because apparently that's when I saw 115 was one of the characters, and it was going for $500. And not happening, bro. Because last year I saw it for fucking $15, and I just passed on it because I'm like, I gotta pick up another key. You know what I mean? I'll pick up something else, you know, that I wanted for Spider-Man, but. All in all, if you're not reading it, if you're not into something, don't pick it up, guys. You know what I mean? Just leave it alone. You know, Justin says it all the time. And there's stuff that I see, even Justin, he's very disciplined about it. That's why I appreciate it. And also Paul. Paul is another person that I conversate a lot with. And you guys are so on it. You know what I mean? And of course, at the end of the day, let's not try to, like, you know, we are human. We make mistakes. We get caught up in our feelings. We're all human. It happens, you know, because we were talking about variants not too long ago, and we all picked up a whole bunch of variants.
Shell out all that money,
you know,
no doubt.
So we're not going to lie to ourselves, you know, but then again, it all goes back to just, you know, making sure you're transparent and you're real to yourself, you're true to yourself, and at least you could, you know, put it out there and you could check yourself, man, you know, and be like, hey, you know what? Let me slow down. Let me stop.
Tomorrow's a new day. You just try to be better.
Exactly, man.
It's like you guys said at the top, you know, you can't have everything.
Can't have the same Pokemon,
bro. You can't have everything.
You're not gonna catch them all, bro.
Where would you put it?
Yeah. You know? But with that being said, guys,
problem.
Justin, I know you got your show coming up next.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you guys, just make sure you are following PJ. PJ, thanks so much for being
Yes.
on the show with us, man. We
I
appreciate that.
appreciate it, man. Thanks
Man.
for
That was
having me
awesome,
on,
man.
guys.
We'll do
Always
it again.
I
appreciate
love
your
it.
input. Always
Absolutely.
a real dude.
Yep.
Definitely appreciate you, brother.
And then a little extra thing too, and I'll highlight. I highlight Sith here. I know we mentioned it earlier, but Morbius and I are going to be on Spine Ticks tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern over on their channel. So make sure you check that out if you guys aren't already subbed up to Spine Ticks. Check them out, and we'll be over there just hanging out, talking comics, talking about a bunch of different things. So that should be a good time too.
We're gonna touch on some hip hop too. You know what I mean? Talk about some hip hop.
For sure.
Talking to my brother Sid Florida earlier, so we could definitely touch on some hip hop.
Hopefully some old school hip hop.
Yeah, man. He showed me a NWA album he has, man. Original NWA, man. I was like, yo, it's dope. So he's excited also. We could touch on some old school hip hop topics. You know, I'm excited about it. And Justin, you got a new show, right? I believe you have a book club.
Justin,
me and Victoria,
when do you sleep all these shows?
We just kicked one off on Saturday.
Oh, you know he's a one-man band, so he does it all.
This guy, he's got more shows.
He got more shows than Netflix, bro.
So I will mention, I actually just got invited over to the Comic Book Canon on their show that they do Friday nights. So I'll be there this Friday with Jeff and Chris. I don't know if you guys follow them, but
I checked that show out. It's good show.
They have a good crowd over there, and they invited me on, so I'll be hanging out with them Friday night. I think it starts at 9 o'clock Eastern, goes for about 2 hours or so. So, and then Maurice, what you were saying, I started the book club with Victoria, which our next one's not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. We're actually going to be reading Daredevil, Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil, the first 10 issues of that. So that'll be fun. If y'all aren't reading that, I highly recommend checking it out because it is good. I've read it before, she hasn't, so I'm gonna reread it, and then we'll talk about it on that. So that's like 2 weeks. So.
Hey, Dave, man, shout out to you. That was a great show, man, this Saturday.
Oh, I appreciate it, man.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that was an awesome show, man.
I appreciate it, man. It's a lot of fun.
Origins. That was dope with Reggie on it. That was a good show, man.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I spelled his name wrong, I appreciate you now. It was hilarious. I'm like there, I'm in the park. I'm trying to participate and watch my daughter. So I'm like speaking into the phone, and I just send it. I don't look. And as soon as I send it, I spelled, obviously if you say Reggie, it comes out with the 2 G's, and as soon as I send it, he was like, yeah, I really hate when people misspell my name. I was like, holy shit. I was like, my bad. Autocorrect. And I'm praying to God like, Justin, do not post that shit. He's gonna see it. He can't see it now, so don't post it.
I'm sure he gets it all the time.
I bet.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up here. Thank you all so much, everyone that's hanging out with us. We appreciate you. Hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're following these two, and we'll be back next Tuesday with Steve from Hip Hops and Me. So we'll have some fun with that. So, all right, y'all. Have a great night.
Excellent.
Peace.